Good morning, everyone. I'm Bill Early. I'm the Executive Director of The Link, and it's my great pleasure to be with you here this morning along with Mayor Ten Haken and Maddie Miller, who is our nurse manager. So The Link has been open for 1 year. And on June 1st, The Link celebrated its 1-year anniversary. And I would think it's fair to say we have had a very busy first year. In that time, in our first year of operations, we have encountered 4,001 triages and have served 1,426 unique individuals. But the real story goes beyond the numbers. Those numbers represent individuals who are members of our community. These are people that have loved ones, people that love them, and people have hopes and dreams for a better future. And so we're so pleased that The Link can be part of helping those folks get on track for that better future. For us, we have an excellent, involved, and I would say dedicated leadership. Our 4 partners, the City of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, Avera Health, and Sanford Health, have all stepped up to the call. And I want to take just a moment of personal privilege and thank Mayor Ten Haken, because his personal effort, energy, and commitment to this project made it all come together. This is something that our community has had on the books trying to get started for about a decade. But it took the bully pulpit of the mayor and his personal energy and probably calling in some favors to make it happen. And I think the results speak for themselves. So we want to thank our founders, our partners, other stakeholders, and our friends within the community who have stepped up for this first year, and we're looking forward to an even more successful second year for The Link. We've really appreciated the investment, financial and otherwise, from our founding partners, and what they have invested in is, I think in one word, hope. That's one thing we can use a little bit more of, I think, in our daily lives. And I think The Link and the investment by our partners have proven that. So the call to action that I have for our community today is very simple. If there is someone in your life, be it you or someone close to you, a neighbor, a friend, a colleague, anyone who might have the need for the services that The Link provides, come. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our team is ready. We want you to come. We're also available for anyone who needs it. The concept has been proven. We're a startup. This first year really was about what are we going to learn? How can we make adjustments throughout the course of the year? And then how do we go forward with the plan, which you're going to hear more about. So we've proven the concept. We've proven the investment is worth it. So another call to action is now it's time for our greater community to step up to support The Link going forward. One final point. The Link could not operate without an excellent, professional, and dedicated staff. I cannot tell you how impressed I am about the staff that we have at The Link. They show up every day with caring, commitment, and compassion for those that we serve. That is something that makes these individuals unique, makes them special, and we are blessed as a community to have the folks working at The Link. Speaking of the folks working at The Link, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you again our nurse manager, Madeline Miller. Maddie?
Thank you, Bill. I just want to say thank you as well to Mayor Paul and to the city's support in this project, to the county, to Sanford and Avera. It's truly been a privilege to be a part of something that so many people believe in. It's also been incredible to see the support from our local government here in the city, the counselors that have supported this project, as well as the legislators at the state level. There are people all over this state that understand that every neighborhood in our communities, we see people that suffer with addiction and mental illness every day, and those that have really stepped up to advocate and financially support. I'm just very grateful, because without that, I wouldn't be able to do the work I do every day. and our team wouldn't be able to change lives every day. So while I am the manager, I represent an incredible team of people that works around the clock to make sure that our doors are always open to anybody who needs our help. We have been busy since we opened June 1st of last year. As Bill said, we had over 4,000 visits in our first year. And I think one incredible story is that we had one visitor come to us 59 times within a 7-month period. And it just goes to show that addiction especially is chronic. It is a winding path that is often very unsteady and difficult to navigate on your own. But that individual has not returned to us in the year 2022. We understand they have completed treatment, are still in recovery and working independently, full-time, living independently. And that's exactly what we want to do, is offer people that hope and that opportunity to make a change. But the other thing I want to say is that we also want to be there for that person if they need to come back for visit number 60. We know that recovery is very difficult, and it's rarely a linear process. Relapse is a part of that process. And so when we built the link, we didn't build it just for the moment, we built it for the long haul. And so I just want to say that as a team, we are here to support our community for the long haul. We're here to walk with people, whatever that journey would look like. I think another thing we have seen that has made a huge impact is just how much addiction and mental health affect our families. Everyone here, listening in the room today, you have someone in your life that has dealt with an addiction, that has dealt with mental health, maybe it's yourself, that has had some of these challenges, and it's really hard to do it alone. But the good news is that you don't have to do it alone, and that there are people here to help. We have 3 services within our facility currently. We do have a medical detox program for people that need to be monitored while they go through withdrawal, and then help with that continued aftercare and getting that person set up for treatment. We have an observation program for people who are intoxicated, under the influence, and need monitoring so that they can be safe and return to the community. And then we also have a mental health crisis stabilization program. And then within that, we've also been able to expand some of our crisis support services for sexual assault victims. So for individuals that have experienced a sexual assault, they can now come to the link for that aftercare support and examination. In addition to those in-house services, we also offer the opportunity for anyone to come talk to our team 24/7 around the clock. We don't do appointments. We just go with the flow every day. We are just here to support people, and we ask for no commitment from anyone who wants to come and talk with us. All we offer is education and hope and an opportunity to learn and figure out how we can best help you take your next step towards recovery. So with that, I just want to say thank you again for this opportunity, not only to speak today, but to be a part of the link, and I'll hand it over to Mayor Paul.
All right, thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Bill, and thank you guys for being here today. The theme that you've heard here, which I think is very important to this project, is the collaboration, which is the only reason that this project exists. And I just want to foot stomp how important that is. And I have a list of some folks here and some companies here that have helped to make this happen. First and foremost, there's a guy named Steve Lindquist who's not here today, but Steve was, he's the OG of behavioral health and addiction treatment in this state. He just got inducted to the South Dakota Hall of Fame for his incredible work he's done over the decades in this space. And we needed a quarterback to help get the link off the ground, and we coaxed Steve out of retirement for about the 4th or 5th time, I think, that he's come out of retirement. So Steve Lindquist has been a huge partner in this. But organizations that have provided us funding have been so critical. Smithfield Foods provided a $400,000 gift. I think it's we quickly forget how important a gift like that was. The Helmsley Charitable Trust made a huge financial commitment to this. In addition, Scott Johnson with the trust is on our board of directors. So he's been a huge resource and asset for us. Greg Sands, Lloyd Companies, and then obviously our partners. The state of South Dakota gave $3 million in the last legislative session in an appropriation for this project. And I share that because this is just expensive, messy work. So you treat a guy 59 times, that costs a lot of money. So what's a life worth? What's it worth to treat someone who's struggling with addiction? On the 57th time, think how that staff was feeling. On the 58th time, that staff is saying, what are we doing here, man? This is the same guy. But on time 59, it worked. He's sober. He's going through the daily grind of trying to stay sober. And so how do you put a price on that work? You really can't. But it is expensive, so we need those partners to do that for us. We often talk about our rising homelessness in Sioux Falls, and homelessness is on the rise. As our city has grown, so has our homeless population. But if you look at a lot of our homeless population, there are underlying challenges that they are experiencing in the forms of addiction and mental health. In fact, a majority of them are experiencing one or both of those issues, and we see a lot of people at the link that are homeless. And so when we talk about what are we doing about homelessness, this is one of the things we're doing as a community, because it's very hard to keep stable housing and keep a job if you're struggling with behavioral health, mental health, and addiction issues. And so that's why we'll continue to invest in this work. I too want to just foot stomp what an incredible staff we have. Bill Early has been a gift to this place. When Steve sent me the email that said he was going to be done, I'm like, what are we going to do? Who am I going to be able to find who's got experience in the legal space and legislatively? And Bill's just been a real blessing to the organization. And then Maddie and her team, I tell you, they see some tough stuff in the link, and they deal with very, very tough people there. And I have the opportunity to go over there once in a while, and it's a rough environment at times. And so they are certainly doing the Lord's work behind those walls, and so I appreciate them very much. So some of the benefits to this of the community have been tenfold. I mean, when you look at our healthcare partners, why are Avera and Sanford doing this work? Well, one, they're doing it because it's the right thing to do, but two, they have seen in their emergency departments, those 4,000 triages that we've done, where would those people have gone otherwise? A lot of them would have ended up in an ER department at Sanford and Avera, taking up an ER bed that maybe needs to be used for a more critical case that's coming through the doors. Now those folks are triaged here. They maybe would have ended up in booking at our jail. Now we're able to take them here and divert them. And we do the detox here now instead of in the jail. When you're taken to detox in a jail, it feels like you're going to jail, okay? Now we're taking them to detox in a place with paintings on the walls and friendly staff, and it's a more humane way to treat people that are struggling with some of those addiction challenges. So Sanford and Avera have seen a reduction from their charity care costs as a result of this facility. We've seen bookings that the time an officer needs to take someone to booking and deal with the booking and the intake process and detox it in the old way. We're able to get those officers back out on the street in about half the time. And so it's much more efficient from a public safety standpoint. So this place has just been an absolute win and a home run. And we're working with USD right now to really quantify that data. A lot of it is, I don't want to say it's still anecdotal, but to get the data agreements and things in place with our healthcare partners, that's done. And now we're starting to get to the point where we can actually quantify what are the actual savings to Sanford and Avera and to the city and the county. And so, as Bill stated, this first year, we're a startup. We're figuring things out. We're kicking the tires on this place. There was a lot of fear about having this place a 9-iron away from City Hall. And I think we've squashed some of the NIMBY fears that people have about places like this, about having them, near a business, near your home, because we have had exactly 0 issues here at City Hall the 1 year that the link has been open with anyone. And so I would call that a success story as well. So what's next? Where do we go from here? We're going to take everything we've learned from the last year and keep moving forward. As Bill used the term, it's been a success. You use success in air quotes because it's very busy, and I wish the link didn't exist. I wish we didn't even have to have that place, but we do. And so we have another floor there that We're going to be looking at how do we use that in the future to expand services, change how we're maybe doing our existing services. To say we've got it all right the first year would be a lie, because we've learned some things about how we have to maybe pivot some of our services differently, the types of patients we're treating. We were just talking in the back room about opioid and the class action opioid settlement dollars that are coming, and those dollars have to be used towards opioid addiction and treatment services. We're not seeing a lot of opioid addiction cases in the link, and so we're learning about what sorts of cases we're seeing, who we're seeing. So our strategic planning is ongoing. I'll tell you, this is just messy work. It's very messy work, and I use the term messy a lot, and people sometimes wonder, what do you mean by that? I mean, it's expensive. There's people like Mr. 59 that just make it very messy work, but it's also, in my opinion, very rewarding at the same time, because when you can get Mr. 59 a stable place to live and back into society and treat that addiction, there's probably no better feeling than knowing that you saved a life. So lives are being saved and extended in that place, and so we're going to continue to just grow awareness of what the link is and how it works in our city and our community. The last thing I'll say, and it's a very specific win that we've had, but we had a program championed by actually Councilor Selberg, who's here, called Operation Hope, and we've put dollars aside that we're able to use at the link for people. Let's say they need a Lyft ride somewhere. Let's say they need an initial payment to get into some treatment. Let's say they need some dollars to get back on their feet. We have city allocated funds that have helped with that. So that's been a nice pot of money, I guess I'll call it, to help those people who, okay, once we've treated them and they have to leave, but they have no place to go or no way to get there, we have an opportunity to help them stabilize and make that first step to wherever they need to go. So it's called the link for a reason, because we're linking people to services, we're linking them to their resources, we're linking them hopefully to the next more stable chapter in their life. So with that, I'll certainly entertain any questions for Bill or Maddie or myself. Yeah.
For whoever can answer, I guess, do you have a figure on how much the Operation Hope Fund has been used?
Bill, do you know that?
So,
Why don't you come up to the mic and do we have to repeat the questions back in this room? Okay. It's our new media room. It's our first press conference in here, so we're figuring out how this works.
all right, so the question was, do we have a sense of how much money has been spent out of the Operation Hope Fund? And I believe that as of the latest accounting, we're at approximately $30,000. So I'm just looking to Maddie for correspondence on that. So we definitely have opportunity there. Part of that, the stabilization beds that we have are an expense that are ongoing. So we need to put people into beds, a place for them to stay during transition. And so we've worked with our good partners over at Southeastern Behavioral Health, and so that's where those folks are getting that additional assistance. And we're looking to see and roll out with, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but with the rollout of 988, we expect to see more opportunities to impact more people with the Operation Hope dollars. And I just want to echo what the mayor said. I mean, thanks to Councilor Selberg, who has been an unrelenting champion for this fund and making sure we get the fund into the hands of the people who need it. We also want to be very good stewards of those funds at the same time.
Megan?
Yeah, just a quick clarification. You said 30,000 that's been spent or 30,000 left to be used?
30,000 that has been spent.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
And I have a question for Maddie. You guys have all kind of noted, the needs and the services you offer and what you've seen. Can you tell me, in the first year, in the demand that you've seen, what have you learned about the needs in the community? And you mentioned the addition of, help for sexual assault survivors. Where are you seeing the greatest need among the services you offer? What have you learned about the needs in the community in this first year?
Thanks, Megan. The question was, what have we learned about the needs and what are the things that we're seeing, some of the trends? So I think, first of all, a lot of the visits that we see were those visits that we planned for. So the ones that used to be taken on by the county in the old sobering center and the old detox center. So we had practically a one-to-one transfer of those sobering visits that used to go through a booking process, and now they're coming through the link. So by far, the greatest number of visits we see is for that sobering program for individuals who are intoxicated. and need that observation. We have also seen greater numbers than we anticipated in clients seeking withdrawal services voluntarily. So historically, detox was primarily used for folks that were going down an involuntary court-driven process. And now we're seeing more and more people coming from all walks of life voluntarily to get help. And that's just a huge testament to the investment that our partners and our community has put into the link. One of the most rewarding things for me when I'm working as a nurse taking care of people at the link is when I bring someone through that's come in and they want to go through detox, and I bring them into the facility and they say, "This is so nice. Wow, I can't believe this is the link." And to me, it's just hugely rewarding. And I just take that opportunity to tell people, you deserve it. You deserve this care, and you deserve to be in a place where you are safe and feel like you can encounter some healing. So the crisis services, it is very hard to define what a crisis is because it's different for every person. But I think what we're seeing is that we just are becoming more and more that first place people come. And while maybe we don't see a lot of formal visits through our crisis program, there are a lot of people that we see that come in and we talk with them. We sit down one-on-one, maybe for an hour or two, and we help them figure out some steps. And then that was it. That's all we did was that triage, but that was a huge support for that person. The other thing that's incredibly hard to capture on paper is the number of phone calls that we take. So people from, honestly, all over the state, sometimes outside of the state, calling and saying, you know, can I come? What are your services? I need help with this. What should I do? And truly, a lot of what I do during the week is talking to family members that have a loved one that is struggling. And so just a ton of continued education and offering resources for people. So,
what are like the top maybe 3 substances, or is it alcohol? What brings people in voluntarily? What are they on?
yeah, great question. What top 3 substances are we seeing in terms of drug use in our community? By far and away, alcohol is the most common. And of course, it's the withdrawal that is most dangerous as well. So we primarily treat people for alcohol withdrawal in our detox program. We also see a significant amount of stimulant use, so meth. We also see that a lot of the meth being used in our community is laced with other things like ecstasy or MDMA, which makes the behaviors associated with that use complicated because it's not your traditional stimulant use. There's added layers of psychosis and impulsivity, and so those are things that we've had to navigate through. And then we see a mixture of other substances in terms of those kind of, I don't know, not classified, so like hallucinogens, mushrooms, bath salts, those kinds of things, and then opioids as well. So, but alcohol is definitely the largest use that we see, followed by stimulants and then opioids.
Do you have a sense of the demographics of the people you're serving? I know the mayor mentioned the homelessness population, but alcoholism doesn't necessarily know any bounds from socioeconomic or other things like that. What does it mean?
Yeah, so demographics for the people that we serve. So again, if we kind of break it into the different populations that we treat, so in the sobering program, where our primary goal is to help sober that person, stabilize during a very short amount of time, usually less than 24 hours, the vast majority of those clients are homeless or transient or in some sort of unstable living situation. We do see primarily males in that population, and we do see primarily Native Americans in that population. We have seen, of course, people of all ethnic background and socioeconomic status, but that is what we're seeing trending with that population. Within our withdrawal program, we see a wide variety of people from all walks of life. Currently, though, 75% of the people that come through our withdrawal program for detox are housed, so they do have some sort of shelter or stable living situation. And so I would take this opportunity to say that that's good, because we know that there's a lot of people that function in our community that have jobs, that have families, that are not living in a shelter but are living with an addiction. And so the link really is intended to be for anybody that needs that support. So.
Maybe this is the part about the university, but is there a plan to study long-term? You know, a year is one benchmark, so are we going
No, great question. So it was, what are we doing to track long-term? We do a grueling amount of data collection at the link, more than I would care to have to be responsible for. But it's incredibly important work that we do, because we know we need to tell not only the story of what we're doing today, but what do we want to see the link doing in 3 years, at 5 years, and at 10 years. And the folks at USD have been incredibly helpful in working with us to identify what are our goals, how are we going to capture that, and how are we going to continue to tell that story, because we know it's not only important so that people continue to use our services, but also to continue to make this place sustainable and help the folks that have invested in this understand what we're really offering in terms of return.
And I also alluded to this, maybe looking at expansion or what else might be needed. Would you say you're at capacity now, or in terms of, how many people you can help at one time? How often is the link full?
Yeah, I get that question all the time. So how often is the link full? How often are we at capacity? So our length of stay is so varied. So I mentioned that we've got, so currently about 13 beds that are designated for that sobering population. And that length of stay averages about 6 to 8 hours. Our crisis chairs, of which we have 3, length of stay is less than 23 hours. And then our 10 detox beds, right now length of stay is about 4 days. So it would take one very crazy day for every single bed to be full all at the same time because of those short turnarounds. So our goal is to first and foremost serve people, but then we triage. So who's in a bed, who needs to still be in that bed, and then how can we create another bed opening to ensure that when police come and bring us somebody, or EMS brings us somebody, I don't have to divert them away to a hospital or to the jail because I don't have room. So that's a huge piece of what we do every day. So to answer your question more plainly, we have never been 100% at capacity, but I also don't think we ever will be, and that's why. Will we outgrow our need and our space? Yes. When? I don't know. Time will tell. We're still learning, so.
All right. Well, thank you for being here today. Maddie and Bill, myself, be available if you have any further questions. Appreciate it.